What's good, squad? So we're just gonna go over some of the PvP changes and assuming nerfs that they did for certain classes. Um, Started off with Death Knights, so we'll just go over the Death Knights, or unholy Death Knights, and go from there, and then work our way down. So necrotic wounds now absorbs 4% of all healing received was 3%. Festering wound damage increased by 12% in PvP combat. Um, so it looks like Unholy Death Knights are getting buffed. Virulent Plague damage increased by 12% in PvP combat. So, and then Death Coil damage increased by 12% in PvP combat. So yeah, Unholy Death Knights are definitely getting buffed. I know a lot of people have enjoyed playing Frost, but there's also other people that enjoy playing Unholy Death Knights, which is reasonably fair, which is cool. Now, the main one is Druids, then Pharaoh Druids. Mario in the Wild, cast time reduction reduced to 50% in PvP combat, instead of it being 30%. So, for those that don't know, Heart of the Wild is like kind of like instantly casting Cyclone. Um, Now since they're nerfing it, people or other classes can easily kind of interrupt you while you're trying to CC other targets or players, whatever the case may be. So this in a way kind of makes you a little bit more vulnerable, in my opinion. Now the main one is Feral Druids. Feral Druids are the only spec I'll ever play in the game on Druids. Rip damage decreased by 15% in PvP combat. So for those that play Pharaoh, the Pharaoh era is pretty much over, guys. It's pretty much over. Um, don't know how this is gonna really play out, especially with Heart of the Wild being nerfed. Um, so I would say this is sort of, kind of a minor nerf, but it's rip damage was pretty much like the top um, bleed for Feral Druids. So yeah, I feel like they should have nerfed it the first season, but they decided to do it this season. Especially when AWC just started last night. So yeah. So I wouldn't say it's like a complete nerf, but I think it's just they're slowly working their way nerfing Pharaohs, which sooner or later people are just not going to end up playing Pharaoh Druids anymore. But we'll see how it plays out. Marksman Hunters, another spec I play. Trick shots now hits targets for 40% of normal damage in PvP combat. Was 75%, so that's a real big change. Big nerf, I should say. Aspect of the Hydra now fires at 30% original value in PvP combat. Was 60%. Sparta's Mark increases aim shots damage by 10% in PvP combat. Was 20%. Improved Spider's Mark now increases the damage bonus of Spider's Mark by 10% in PvP combat. Was 20%. True Shot now increases critical strike damage by 10%. Was 20%. So yeah, Marksman Hunters definitely took an L here. So I don't know because I feel like this definitely. I mean, a lot of people play BM hunters and survival hunters a lot. So I mean, marksman hunters were just at the top this season, and now they're getting nerfed. They're definitely taking L here. So yeah, and then aim shot damage increased by 15% in PvP combat, and then arcane shot damage increased by 20% in PvP combat. So these are slightly minor buffs, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. And I play Hunter a lot. I was playing it last season, but wasn't really wasn't really playing for the entire season because they were kind of squishy in my opinion. Mages I really don't care about, but yeah, I guess fireball damage increased by 25%, and yeah, I don't really care about fire mages. It looks like rogues are definitely getting nerfed too. Restless Blades effectiveness reduced by 20% in PvP combat. Sinister Strike damage increased by 20%. Pistol shot damage increased by 20%. So rogues kind of got nerfed too, but not by a lot. So yeah, I don't know what to say. As you guys know, Feral Druids have been the only class that or spec I've ever played throughout the entirety of me playing WoW for so long. Um, yeah, I don't know because I feel like in Dragonflight they definitely put an end to the Feral era. Um, Not entirely, but just kind of like nerfed them a little bit, and they're basically doing the same thing in the War Within. It's not really that big of a deal. I really don't think the rip damage is that big of a deal either, but we'll see how it plays out next week and test it out and see if it's that effectful uh, doing arenas or whatever. But anyway, leave a comment down below in my video and let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys agree to these changes for Unholy Death Knights and then obviously for Druids. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.